what narcissists do is they are able to scan you and figure out what all of your weaknesses are. Similar to a virus scan, when you do a virus scan on your computer and it brings up this whole list of different viruses and malware and stuff like that. The narcissist is able to kind of scan you and figure out a list of your weaknesses. They can't do it immediately like a virus scan would, do it in whatever, 20 minutes, an hour, a few hours if you do a full scan. But they do it over time. They essentially, they're very good listeners. They just let you talk. They'll let you talk because they're gonna just listen to the information and they take like a mental note of what can be used later to their benefits. So they kind of store this information and figure out how they're going to use it later on to take advantage of you or to get over on you. It's very malicious. They're extremely malicious, and they just, they don't really care how long it takes. They've got plenty of time because they work with multiple people at a time. You're not generally the only one that they're dealing with, so they can be as patient as they need to be. They've got plenty of time. They don't need to strike right away. They can, save this information to be used at a later date. But they do pay attention to your strengths as well. They do pay attention to your strengths. So they're not only focusing on your weaknesses, they do pay attention to your strengths because, remember, they want to break you down. And they're highly envious and jealous. So they definitely notice your strengths because it makes them feel inferior. Even though their fake persona is grandiose and they act as if they are, super confident, they are not. They are inferior and they are envious and jealous. So your strengths make them feel even worse because they don't possess any of these qualities. Most empathic people are very dynamic, very well-rounded, all things that narcissists are not. Narcissists, even though they're sort of multi-layered and they are complex, they're kind of like, like mummies. I mean, they're like dead. They don't have any personality. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if you had a personality, you wouldn't need to create some whole fake persona that people would actually like and have that, the charming. Well, basically, they're mimicking you. They're mimicking the person that they're targeting. So you like them because they're mimicking you, so it appeals to you. So they know how to be a chameleon to appeal to your sensibilities. So whoever they're targeting at the time, they're going to appeal to that person's sensibilities, and the person's going to be like, oh wow, this is so cool, I found someone to kick it with who's just like me, they're funny, they're charming, and that's what they do. So the rest of us don't need to go out and create some fake, elaborate personality because we just are the way we are. We're dynamic in the way that we already are. We don't need to change anything. So what I'm getting at is the narcissists, they are paying very close attention because they want to exploit your weaknesses. So they need to know what all of these are in order so that they can exploit them. And primarily with empaths, what they exploit is your empathic traits. So they know that they are going to be able to get away with murder if you are empathic and caring, because they can take advantage of this. So they know that you are the type of person that is going to give second chances. You're gonna be apt to forgive. Many times they target even Christians because Christians are taught to forgive, to turn the other cheek. You see what I'm saying? So Christians, and this is not a jab at Christians because I was a Christian, but they're docile, okay? They are trained to turn the other cheek, to forgive. You know what I mean? So the narcissist can completely exploit these traits. Even though they're excellent traits in general, the narcissist will exploit them, because if they upset you, if they, miss a commitment, you'll be likely to make an excuse for them, even though they did it on purpose. They had complete intention to not show up, or, they were trying to get a reaction from you. They were trying to upset you and get supply. But you are going to forgive them and just say, oh, well, maybe he had a bad day and something came up and he had an emergency meeting and something came up out of the blue. Empaths would be more likely to deceive themselves, to trick their own mind, instead of calling the situation what it is. This person did not fulfill their commitment, so, that's it. They're not reliable. If someone can't fulfill a commitment, that means they're not reliable. And that means more than likely it's going to happen again. So they look to exploit your empathic traits because they know that they can continue to get away with things, and you're going to make excuses. You're going to just say, oh, because you yourself don't want to appear like you're being too hard, or then you're going to look to yourself. You're going to go, well, I must have done something wrong. What did I do wrong? Something must have happened. And then you're going to sit there wondering, oh, did I miss something? Did I not text him back? Did I do something for him to do that? You know what I mean? And then you're going to start blaming yourself, or this is very typical of empaths. That's generally what we do. So in this way, they are able to take advantage of these things. So when someone has a behavior that is poor, you need to blame them. It has nothing to do with you. If they wanted to be there, they would have. If they wanted to call you on time, they would have. No one is that tied down that they can't send a 2-second text, or, you know what I mean? If I really want to talk to someone, I'll just stop everything and talk to them. I'll clear everything out of my schedule and make sure I'm there. Narcissists don't care about anyone, so they're just playing games to see how much they can get away with each person, because the person that puts up with it the most is going to become their main source of supply. The person who just sticks around and continues to let these poor behaviors slide, that is the person who will ultimately become their main source of supply, but then they'll end up destroying that person. They'll end up going through the whole idealize, devalue, discard phase. But they're just doing these things to test out the waters in the beginning to see what they're going to be able to put up with. So, they're looking for your weaknesses to see how much leverage they are going to be able to have over those weaknesses. So they're scanning you, they're sizing you up the entire time, and they're listening very carefully to see what your weaknesses are so they can exploit them at a later date.